Hi students, today 10th botany, but it is a class of 9th students. The topic is will be going on is called botany subject. The topic is namely called as origin and evolutions of life. What are the definitions of origin and evolution? Origin means where any one of the organism it must be developed. What is the meaning of evolution mean? Origin of new species from pre-existing one, which is completely different from earliest one. That is commonly called as evolution. In the topics, which topics today we are going to discuss about is commonly called as paleobotany. Paleobotany, the word is derived from Greek word. Which word is derived from paleobotany? Paleon. So what is the meaning of paleon is commonly called as it's old. What is the meaning commonly called as botany? It is nothing but it is a branch of biology that deals with study of plants. The topic which one we going to discuss about commonly called as paleontology. So paleontology is a branch of biology or a branch of paleobotany that deals with study of excavation of plants from geological past. Also known as paleontology is nothing but what are the organism it must be present to be early in the earth. That organism what way to be formed or which way will be going to be sedimented. That kinds of studies to be deadly deeply is called paleontology. That we call study of excavation of plants from geological part. Okay. How the fossil plants must be formed, or what is that definitions of fossil plant? So on the earth, many living organisms must be present. That organism, any natural calamities due to earthquake or volcanic eruption or flood, any natural calamities, that organism it is buried in the soil. All the living organism after a million years of ago, the living organism became converted into fossilized form like coal and petrol. So coal and petrol is a fossilized product or fossilized component. Those two are generally considered as cultivated or easily utilized plant product. So in this chapter, now we must be discuss about what is the importance of fossil. What are the first importance of fossil? The fossil, the throw arm, light on evolution and phylogeny of plants. So with the help of fossil, you have to study about evolutionary studies. What is the meaning commonly called as evolutionary studies? That the organism, it is initially where it must be developed. You have to study, you need fossil plants. What they call phylogeny. Phyllo means the plants. Geny means genetically. So within the plant, what are the genetic relationships are there? The things how you have to be find out mean it's a need fossilized product. This is the first importance of fossil, namely the throw on light on evolutionary plants and the phylogeny of plants. Second thing, fossil plants that gives historical approach to plant kingdom. So what do you mean commonly called as historical approach? So how you have to be, the fossilized plants should be classified in the plant kingdom, or in the plant kingdom where the fossil plants for kept in a group, it's need fossil plant. With the help of the fossil plant or fossilized component, you are cleanly learn about historical approach to plant kingdom. Can I go to the third one? Fossil plant it helps in classifications of plants. So what do you mean classification? To separate. So based on the characteristic feature, the whole plant system, you have to be categorized, or you have to be separate. It's need fossilized compound. That is say, fossil plants, it's a help in classifications of plants. The fourth one is commonly called as fossil plant is useful in the fields of descriptive and comparative anatomy. So fossil plants, is useful in the fields of, what are the fields to be, it is much utilized to be clear, descriptive, maybe give explanation, comparative, how to compare between them. It's going on anatomy. What they call anatomy? Study of internal structure of plants. These four are commonly called as impedance of fossils. Next one to be commonly called as Casper Maria van Sternberg. Who is called as Casper Maria van Sternberg? He is considered as father of PALEOBOTANY. He is born in Europe. In this mean period of lifestyle, he established Bohemian Natural Museum. What that? He established Bohemian Natural Museum at Peru or Paraguay. So Paraguay is nothing but it is a city of European. Due to established Bohemian Natural Museum at Paraguay, he has to be considered as founder of modern PALEOBOTANY. So, father of PALEOBOTANY and the founder of modern PALEOBOTANY, who has to be considered as commonly called as Casper Maria and van Sternberg. He was born in Europe. What is the life period? You know that 1671 to 1838. He has to be established at the Bohemian Natural Museum at Paraguay. That's why he has to be considered as founder of modern PALEOBOTANY. And next one we are going to discuss about Birbal Shani. Who is called as Birbal Shani? Birbal Shani, it must be considered as he is an Indian scientist. Particularly, he has to be considered as father of Indian PALEOBOTANY. So what is the life period of Birbal Shani? He has to be considered as 1891 to 1949. This is the life period of Birbal Shani. During at the time, he presented his research in two different areas. Or in his research, he exposed two different areas of PALEOBOTANY. The first area is commonly called as the anatomy and morphology of Paleozoic fern. This is the first thing. So you know that What is the anatomy? Study of internal structure of plant body. What is the morphology? Study of external structures. What is the Paleozoic? These are fossilized regions. Do you know that fern is commonly called as, it's a comes from a third of its plants. This is that first different area. What is that? The anatomy and the morphology of Paleozoic fern. Second thing, the fossilization of Indian Gondwana formation, are also known as the fossil plant formations of Indian Gondwana formation. What is the commonly called as Gondwana? Comprising different layers. So it has to be explanation to different events. The anatomy and the morphology of Paleozoic fern. Second thing, fossil plants of Indian Gondwana formation. The next one going to discuss about commonly called as fossilization. So what is the meaning commonly called as fossilization? The process of formations of fossil in rocks. For formations of fossil in rock, there have been several kinds of classifications. What are the classifications? It must be occurred for the fossilization in the rock is first one. Second thing, mold and cast. Third thing, preservation. Fourth one, compression. Fifth one, infiltration or replacement. So those are the steps to accompany with the process of formations of fossil. For the first one, petrifaction. So petrifaction is the first process of fossilization in the rock. What I call petrifaction means mineral-like compound like silica, which are slowly penetrate in the soil. So mineral-like is not an exact mineral, mineral-like silica, which is slowly penetrate in the soil. After the penetration, that are replace organic tissue or that are replace original organic tissue, resulting its gradually formations of rock-like fossil. So that method of petrifaction usually accompany with them are usually preserved for hard and soft part By this method, which part is generally is going to petrification takes place commonly called as most of bones and woody fossil is going to petrify. That's the first method. The second thing is commonly called as mount and cast. So for the replica of plant part and the animal part, which are preserved by sedimentation. So the replica of plants and the animal part which are preserved by sedimentation. What is sedimentation? Settled at the bottom. So any one of the organism when is sedimented in the bottom of the soil, after the sedimentation that part will be going to dissolved. After the dissolving, the plant part or animal part which is living as a hollow depressions. That is commonly called as mold. So what do you say? Any part of the plant or animal which is preserved or sedimented in the bottom, the whole part became is dissolved, which is leaving as a hollow depression is commonly called as mold. So mold is also known as, it gives as an external shape, but the internal there is no structural formations. That hollow depression, it is filled with mineral and sedimented particle, that is commonly called as cast. It's commonly called as mount and cast. Can I go to the third one is commonly called as preservation. So the original compound which are preserved using as a good component is commonly called as ice or amber. Third, the original compound which are preserved or which can be preserved by using the compound is commonly called as ice and amber. You know that ice, do you know like this? What do they call amber? Amber is nothing but tree sap or plant juice to be safe. That kinds of events, it must be mentioned even that one of the movies commonly called as Jurassic Park. That a movie collected insect, it must be stored on that plant juice commonly called as amber. That movie to be indicated like this. So why the collected plant particle or animal particle you must be keep on ice or amber mean? That ice and amber, it is prevent plant or animal part from decay. So the plant part or animal part, once you keep on ice or amber means that particle cannot be going to be decay. That's why it's responsible to prevent. So that the whole plant part or whole animal part, if you want to the future conservation, you must be keep on ice or amber. That is commonly called as preservation. Okay, the next one is commonly called as compression. So in a sea or pond or lake, whatever it may be, any kinds of animals which is going to die or died. After died, the tissue part which is are easily decomposable. But the hard part of bone or any hard part of this animal which is not possible to float on the water surface. Those whole hard part of that component, it is settled on sea bottom. That's a commonly called as uppermost layer of sea component. So the kinds of bone or hard part when settled at the bottom of the sea, after the setting, which leads to going on sedimentation. For continuously going on the sedimentation, the hard part of that animal or plant part, after a million years of ago or after some years of ago, that part is became converted into fossilized. That's a commonly called as compressions. The last one is commonly called as infiltration, or also called replacement. So what I call infiltration or replacement is commonly called as precipitated minerals like or precipitated minerals which are takes place infiltrate to the cell wall. So what are the mineral? It must be act as a infiltrated process. That means that minerals like silica, calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. Those are the minerals. It must be act as infiltrate process. So you know that in plant, so many kinds of area that can be present hard part. That hard part is dissolved. Dissolved place is replaced by these minerals. So what is your saying like this? In plant, many hard parts are there. The hard part is any one of the way that can be dissolved. The dissolved place replaced by these minerals. What are the minerals like this? Silica, calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. What do you mean commonly called as living fossil? Some of the living organism, it is similar to fossilized component. That things, it is exact to fossilized structure, or which organism morphological structure which is similar to fossilized plant is commonly called as gymnosperm plants. So the greatest example of gymnosperm is commonly called as Ginkgo biloba. So the plant is considered as fossilized plants. In addition, during the beginning time, can indicating Caspar Maria van Steenberg. He is considered as the father of PALEOBOTANY. There I am indicating the life period is commonly called as 1671, but it must change like this. So that once I have given Caspar Maria van Steenberg. The life period is commonly called as 1761 to 1838. Is You should be altered when you have to ready the time. Thank you, one and all.